If any of you have ever been to any of the meetings that I chair or whatever, I start on time and we usually end pretty quick, so everybody has other things to do, so realize your time is valuable. So we'll just get started, and we know, even though there's may not be a lot of people here in the audience, there are a lot of people that have been using the live stream and the resource that we have available there. So when you're speaking, keep in mind that there are people out there on the internet watching this, and it's going to be captured live forever. So if you ever decide to run for president, be careful what you say. So we'll get started. There's a lot going on right now, and it's good stuff. We're finally starting to see some progress. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but we're really realizing it now on the ground. So it's going to start getting real busy around Lower Lake here for the next month or so, and really appreciate state staff for being here, and we have some folks in the audience too that are available for any questions that you might have. Todd from Lower Lake County Water Company's here, and if we have any questions regarding the water, Under Sheriff Macedo is here from the Sheriff's Department, and Chief Cepeda from from Lake County Fire is here. Sorry, Willie, I almost put you down at the other end there. So, and then Supervisor Comstock is also here. Any questions for him? So we'll begin first of all with Ray Rominsky. He's an environmental health guy that's taking care of the cleanup end of it, and then he can introduce Todd Ballhammer, if you could do that, Ray.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Ray Rominsky for County Environmental Health, and we're doing a very similar project for debris removal that we did for the Rocky Fire, the Jerusalem Fire, the Valley Fire. It's a voluntary program. If an owner has a destroyed structure, they can sign a right of entry agreement that gives our contractors permission to enter your property and clean up the debris. There's several steps to that. It's a complete, thorough, sophisticated program. I mentioned behind the scenes there's some preliminary work going on, some testing, some evaluating, some household hazardous waste removal, some asbestos surveys for a few weeks. The actual heavy equipment crews started today with 3 task force. We call the work crews a task force in the incident command jargon. They began and they completed 3 lots today, and they'll be pressing on through the town of Lower Lake and out in Copsey Creek subdivision. The work schedule is prioritized by what we've seen as the priority hazards. First the hazard areas, then moving out. There is 138 properties registered in that program. We had a deadline for sign up of October 14th. That's been extended. If you know someone, if you have a property, you can still sign up for that program. We had a later than expected start on this, so we can still take sign-ups for that. And if you know someone that has a lot that they haven't made up their mind, you can have them call, you can have them check our web, or probably most convenient is the little office in the old Bank of America building, a couple hundred yards down here on Main Street. That's a daytime, Monday to Friday, and a half day on Saturday. And our managers and our crews and our evaluators are working out of there. In addition, if someone has a burned structure, they don't need to sign up for this state-funded, state-sponsored program. You can hire a private contractor. There's a few of those. There's a few there's working on their own with the private excavators. Cherno's doing quite a few. If you're buying a new manufactured home, sometimes those manufactured home dealers are working with a contractor, and they'll do a package deal to clear your lot and set up a new modular home. In the private contractor worksheet. There's 36 signed up and 11 completed so far. So that's where we are on that. And that's kind of the thing for the debris removal. Some of the state staff that's with us now is Monique Wilbur in the corner. She's working as an incident commander on our team, and Todd Thalhammer is working as the operations chief, and that's managing all the work crews in the field and all the support crews. So that's what we have. If there's any questions on that, the three of us or any one of us could.
Are there any questions right now
Questions.
of them? One thing that, you know, again, we've stated this before, but if there's anything good to come out of this experience, we do have state staff and our staff too, who've gone through it obviously the last year or so with the Valley Fire. So a lot of what we're experiencing right now, we're way ahead of where we were at this time in the Valley Fire. So we're really moving ahead. And Todd is here. Todd's from Middletown. He's a local boy, and he's back to help us. And he's helping us here with the Valley Fire. But we all know the drill, and so things are moving along pretty quick as far as that goes. And I appreciate the responsiveness of Cal OES and Cal Recycle. It's been really nice to have that relationship, at least that we can move ahead. Todd, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Our basic goal is that I know there's going to be impacts in town. The traffic will be impacted. We'll try to keep it at a minimal, but you will see a street sweeper that will go through town, and that's basically to take out all the track out issue from the trucks. But be patient. Some of the trucks will back in the lots. We're just going to stop traffic very quickly. We just try to not impact the community. We do have air sampling up. We have air sampling at the elementary school and the high school. So our degree of operations are not going to hopefully impact anybody, but we're doing that. We're doing environmental controls. We have a goal on the table, and the goal is to get all the ash and debris off the ground before Thanksgiving. And that's what we're going to shoot for. So we're probably going to get up to 9 to 12 crews, which it will get very busy with debris trucks, but hopefully we can get out of here before Thanksgiving and not ruin your Thanksgiving.
Todd, one of the questions that I've gotten from the folks, and I don't know if there's anyone here that might have this, but I've been getting calls from a lot of the locals who work in the Valley Fire. Who would they contact for work for local?
Well, we're currently hiring local contractors. We're bringing on Dutch, Engelke, Coleman, Fossa.
Okay.
So the local guys are going to need crews. I don't know. The problem is
They should contact them.
we
Is
train
there a
over
list of
600
them?
people, and
Yeah.
we're only going to need 100.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
a problem.
Well, is there a list at the D-Rock that somebody can check there on the contractors that are certified and working in the program?
Yeah, they could drop off information at our D-Rock.
Okay. All right. So we'll follow up with that. Again, Ray's stated the D-Rock's right down here at the old bank building.
I have a question.
Yes.
They're out at our property right now cleaning up, so which we had to go by this morning. My son called me and tells me now when they clean all that up, is there somebody that's going to come back and test the soils and test the septics and all and let us know when we can rebuild? Same with the cement plots, if they have to come up or not?
So we will test your soil. We won't test your septic.
Okay.
So we'll do everything basically from above ground. Part of your testing of your septic's on your rebuild. So when your contractor goes to rebuild your home, that'll be part of when he rebuilds a home through the county permit. And help me here, Ray, if I stumble on the county's permit process. But and then after we test the soil, if it comes back clean, we'll then come in and do erosion control for you. So throughout the winter, it'll have erosion control, fiber rolls, those will all be in place. And then we'll provide you with a certificate that it's passed, it's met the cleanup goals, so that you can start rebuilding.
And then will you guys be responsible, like, will they have to pull up the cement slabs like from the garage and stuff like that? Is that going to have to be taken out?
Yeah, we take out all the cement, all the concrete structures, we take those out.
If you do a private cleanup, you might be able to save that, but with the state programs, they come up.
Generally, a concrete or masonry foundation going through a fire is not structurally sound.
Okay.
You
Well, that's
know,
not like our garage is cement, and then
Yeah.
we have a mobile, but her house next door was on cement with her house and her bedroom. And I figured those would have to come, but we have a pool in the back cement, the fire didn't even touch that, nowhere near it.
The pool?
So,
Yeah, no, we
pool?
won't touch the pool.
It's not like above ground pool, it's there, the plastic benches, none of that melted, all the furniture in Walnut Creek is good. Everything else,
We'll save it. But as long as, I'm hopefully you mark that on your ROE that says, please save my pool and
yes, I
benches.
do.
I can't guarantee the crews won't be swimming in it, but
You want to swim in, it'll be worse than the lake when you take it.
I'll make sure my crews are not swimming.
You mentioned the septic system. When you get ready to rebuild, or if you want to put a RV or motorhome temporary use and use your septic system for wastewater, there's a permit we have that we inspect it for reconnection. We charge $120 for that. Several of them are being done already, are being done now. So that's what we have for reusing the septic system.
Yeah, my son wanted to know about that, if they could bring a mobile, he wants to take a mobile back until everything gets done. We're out at Kanaka Harbor right now, and I'm happy to stay out there, but he wants to get back as soon as possible.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, back in the back.
Ron, California contract, just had a question on private cleanup. There has some people calling me asking about the cleanup of the properties and lots. I'm down here with my friends, their house burned down over here. They have the same question about private cleanup.
What's the question?
Having your own contractor clean up the lot, or you have to go through someone that you got?
Yes. You're kind of being held to the same safety standards and cleanup standards as the state contractors.
Right.
And we have a registration where you, contractor,
Yes.
or the owner signs a form. It's basically an agreement to be safe and be complete, and then that page we give back to you, and that's required to enter the landfill with your debris.
Okay, now what about the certification for after the lot's been cleaned, the testing?
Okay,
You'll-
just so, do you have more questions?
No.
Okay, if you do, I'm just going to ask people to come up here because we are live streaming this,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and we want to be able. That's fine. I should have caught that. The question is, can they do private cleanup? And that was Ray's answer. And then the second question that you just asked was getting the certification.
Yeah,
for that the property's been cleaned up.
For completion, get in touch with the lab or an engineer or a geologist and have them collect soil samples after you've scraped off a thin layer of soil, and then they'll have that soil sample analyzed at a certified lab for heavy metals, compare your results with the cleanup goals, and then you submit all that paperwork, and we'll check you off as approved and give you a certificate that's similar to the one that Todd mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
If you have questions on the process, just drop by the bank. I'm happy to walk you through how a private contractor does it the same way we are. At Middletown, Hidden Valley, the private contractors did a phenomenal job.
I've been working to get done, and I have my lead license and everything, but I just want to be sure that we're doing this. I haven't cleaned up a lot yet. This is my friends that won't be helping with it. So I just want to be sure I'm doing it correct for them. And working the information on having someone test the soil out.
Happy to walk you through it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions right now? Right. Okay, so I'll introduce Bob Massarelli, our Director for Community Development, and he's working on quite a few things to make this rebuild happen pretty quick.
Good evening. Just a little bit follow up on the debris removal by an independent. The process is you go to the health department, fill out an application there, get a permit, then you come over to the building department and we'll give you a demo permit. And when you're finished, you go to the health department, get the clearance, everything's fine, then come back to the building department, we close the permit. Now, there's no charge for the demo permit. It's just a way for us to keep account of what structures have been removed, so that when we go for a rebuild, we know what the situation is. Okay. So on a rebuild, and that's what really, we're in recovery, we go through various stages. We're now entering the stage of temporary dwellings or rebuild. And I know a lot of people are going to start having questions on that. We have a package that we've put together that a series of frequently asked questions, and the actual application form for a temporary dwelling or for the rebuild. And so the process, we spell out on each of those, each of the steps that you have to take. And that's one of the things we learned in the Valley Fire, that it was very confusing to people. You know, well, I went to the health department and they stamped it county approved, and they thought everything was taken care of. And then they, no, now you have to go here, now you have to go here, now you have to go here. And I realized the process is very confusing for someone who really doesn't do that on a day-to-day basis. So what we've done in this package is lay out each step. You go here, get this, you go here, get this. We give you addresses and phone numbers to help you through the process. And of course, we're always available to assist you in through the entire process. So if you're interested in a temporary dwelling or the rebuild, I have a package here that will give you that information that you may need. Right now, we primarily have just received demolition permit applications. We have not got any rebuild applications yet, but I expect that will now start picking up as the cleanup occurs. Nothing could happen until the cleanup was done. So we're expecting that to pick up, and we're ready to assist you in the process.
Any questions of Bob? Okay.
I have a question about,
Is she okay where she is there, Tony? Get her there.
when
Can you
you
come up to the lectern,
rebuild.
please? Can you come up there, please, just to the lectern?
Roger?
Oh, I just wanted to ask about square footage for rebuilding, because we had a really large home, underinsured. So we're gonna have to go back in with a smaller home. And I want to know what your minimum square footage is for homes, because a lot of people want to downsize, you know, that's too expensive to rebuild what you had.
What you'll need to do is give us a call. You tell us the address of your property so that we can look up to make sure we have the correct zoning, if there's any other restrictions on the property, and we can tell you what the minimum square footage is. We can tell you setback requirements and things like that. We can give you the full criteria of what you can put on the property. So until we have your specific address, I really can't tell you exactly what those minimums
But
are.
the minimum, typically, the minimum is 720? Is that right? Or?
Off the top of my head, I agree, but I'm.
Yeah, I think it's, what we were doing, here's the thing, this is the reason, we're not trying to be evasive or anything, but what we've learned, that's one of the things that we learned in the Valley Fire, is that you can have, 1,000 different homes burn up, and there's 1,000 different scenarios, because everybody built in a different time, different era, different code requirements, and we're trying to use as much discretion as we can to help people get rebuilt, not to be punitive. And so, so in a lot of cases where, if, say for instance, I think it's 720, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But if their home was 600 feet, if it was 600 feet the day before the fire, it should be 600 feet after. So we were using some discretion in that in some areas. But what Bob's saying is that, depending upon where your location is, the setbacks and all that, if there's any discretion that can be used, we've been using it pretty well. So just contact them, we'll figure it out.
I have a question.
I came in a few minutes late. Are you Rob Brown?
I am.
Well, take
It
it.
depends. I mean,
It could be Ray Ramuski
it
here.
could be Jim Comstock. I mean,
Yeah.
it just depends. How bad is he?
So are there any ideas or any plans for this community? Is there a direction? Do you have a vision? What can you, as our government, do for us? I mean,
We're doing
can we
it.
think out of the
We're doing
box?
it.
Can we do things, I mean, I'm so confused by this whole process, but is there a direction that we need to be thinking about?
Well, let me just talk about that just for a second. I don't want to tie up, because yeah, there is. And there's some, we've actually had a meeting with some of the community leaders. This isn't my district, so I kind of defer to Jim and the others who live here. And even Jim is deferring to those who actually live in Lower Lake, Willie, Mike Dean, Waterford. All these folks that actually live here, it's your direction. It's what you want. So There's a desire on behalf of some private money as well as Senator McGuire to bring in some money to do some things for Lower Lake that they didn't have before, to kind of create that identity, that separate identity that will make Lower Lake its own community that will help in the rebuild and help. It'll be ideally make it bigger and better than it was. That's what the plan is. Upgrade the water system. I had a meeting in Sacramento Monday before last over a lot of different things with the Valley Fire, but one of the subjects was to do some significant upgrades to the water system here in Lower Lake. And we've talked about a lot of different things, and we're working on those. But the main thing that we want to do right now, we were trying to do them simultaneously, and it was getting a little bit confusing in that it was confused with the rebuild, with the cleanup. And so we decided that we would wait until the cleanup was well underway before then we start looking at that vision and actually meeting with the folks in Lower Lake to say, what is it that you want? We're going to work on getting the group together to try to update the area plan that's long overdue. And so those are some of the things that we're going to be doing before I can tell you, yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this. We need to know what's needed first. So.
It's really hard to know. My insurance company is pushing me to get this done in 3 or 4 months. But when you've lost your whole community and you've lost the character and the flavor and personality of the community you live in, how do you know you even want to go back there?
No, I understand. Yeah, we've lived it with the Valley Fire. There's a broad range of emotion. The emotion that you have tonight won't be the same one you have in 3 months, and that won't be the same one that you have in 6 months. So it's going to take some time. I don't think any of us are qualified to say tonight what we want Lower Lake to look like after this is all said and done. It's going to be a long process to go through, and there's, like I said, and I mean that literally. There's a broad range of emotions personally that go through through the entire community that actually is going to help in that identity. And none of us are qualified to say, first of all, none of us up here live in Lower Lake, so we're not qualified to say this is what we think you should do. And I don't think the folks in Lower Lake are ready just yet to say this is what we want it to look like when we're all done. Because we want to, you never get the character back, good, bad, or otherwise, you never get that back. So the best we can hope for is to go for the new normal and make that good. So that's what ultimately I think all of our goal is.
So much will be up to the people who live here and operate businesses here and raise their families here.
Yeah, the school's a big part of it, as it always is.
It's your
Fire
choice.
department. Yeah. This is a very, all the communities around the county. I've got several within my own district, but in this district alone, Lower Lake's much different than Hidden Valley, much different than Middletown, much different than any of these other Anderson Springs. Everybody has their own unique qualities, and so we want to keep the best, exchange the worst, make it better. And I think we have a really good opportunity here. We have to make some good come out of this horrible situation, and you can. There's we learned this too from the Valley Fire. There's a lot of opportunity in a disaster, and we need to make sure that we capture all of it that we can. It's not going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. We don't have the money. It would take millions and millions to do what everybody wants to do, but we're going to do everything we can do with the resources that are given us. And right now we've got the attention and the compassion and the sympathy of the folks that actually have some money, and that's at the state and federal level, and some private money. But we're going to do everything we can with those resources that are available to create a Lower Lake that Lower Lake wants, and that's ultimately all we can hope for.
I do want to pick up what he's saying. As part of the Community Development Department, I have the Planning Division underneath me. And we're going to be starting an update of the county general plan next year. And as Rob mentioned, the Lower Lake area plan is the oldest area plan we have. It's 1988. It's long overdue to be updated. My plan is that we form a community group to help us create that vision, create what Lower Lake should look like, and come up with a very specific area plan for this area. And it's not the planners, not us telling you what to do, but from the community. So there'll be a lot of community involvement. So we can't tell you today what that's going to be, but over the next year or two, we'll develop that as a community and come up with the long-range vision for the area.
Can I ask
about how long after you got, like I live out in the Concha Creek area,
Right.
and that looks like a bomb went off out there. And well, as far as I know, only one or two of my neighbors are gonna rebuild, the rest aren't. And you know about how long it's gonna take once the cleanup gets through, so we can try to maybe know when we're going back?
You, I could just say from experience that we've just gone through in the other area that, are you gonna put in a mobile?
We had a mobile, but we want to try and go for modular instead of a mobile.
Yeah,
I think,
I
my kids
would-
think it'll be safer.
And it takes a couple of months to get those in.
Right.
I would order it tomorrow. I would get it coming because it's not gonna take that long. These guys know what they're doing. The landfill's 3 miles away as opposed to 40
Right.
miles away. It's gonna go pretty quick. It's gonna go really nice. And you're not gonna be held up by us to try to get your home back in there as quickly as possible. So, if you're in a 2-month or 3-month, whatever it is, waiting list, I'd get it ordered. I'd figure it out.
Yeah, we plan on it. I want to go back as soon as possible.
Yeah, don't you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. A few places up on Cobb, we're pouring a foundation, building a new house, or setting a new modular on one lot, while our crews were still finishing the lot across the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
Plans were
go,
being drawn up, architect,
you could go that fast if you want to.
People were getting the application in, because it's taking 4 to 6 weeks for a completed application to be processed, and, these guys are gonna be on this, really, the weather's perfect for it right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back home.
Well, I can't wait till you're back home, so, yeah, but we want that bad for you.
One of the questions you had, and Bill, upon you, what can we do as the government, what can government do? Actually, the Board of Supervisors at the Valley Fire authorized us to get a new computer automated system for permitting. And we're actually going to have a soft opening of that November 7th, 9th. That we'll actually be doing that. So that will computerize all our permitting system, which will help expedite permits. The other thing the board did was me to hire 2 additional building inspectors, and we are making the offer, we're starting to make the offer process today for one of those building inspectors. So we will actually have 3 building inspectors now to help expedite the process of getting things inspected on the ground. So the board has taken very positive actions, and we are implementing those as we speak right now.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, sure. And I kind of gone against the rules here. I really need you to come up because other folks out there may have the same question. They're all good questions, but I don't think you're the only one that wants to know this stuff. So if you could please come up.
And this is
Ask a
my
question if you
appearance.
want. Right here by the lectern.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. You had one in the back there. Can you follow her?
Well, this is, a lot of the questions I had in my head when I came here have already been answered, but there's a lot of us in the Copsey Creek and the Port of Horse Lane region that are concerned about the creeks itself. So is there an agenda for the cleanup of the creeks before the creeks start running? Because we're worried, a lot of us are worried about the vernal water.
We'll follow up by the next meeting. There won't be any
Okay.
rain between it. But we have Greg Giusti at the last meeting. He was already on texting Corinne Woodard from NRCS to get that information. I'll have somebody here at the next meeting to talk about that.
Yeah, because those of us,
Yeah.
these are my cousins, by the way,
Yeah.
so I live up above them, and when I'm going up over the bridge, I look and I see the rows of dead trees,
Yeah.
all leaning, and everybody's saying, well, it's the property owners, and people are saying, no, it's Yolo County, no, it's,
Well,
it's gotta be somebody, you know?
In a normal situation, it'd be the property owner, but in a situation like this, there are
Yeah.
some resources available through NRCS that can help with that. And so, we'll use that. They helped us a lot in the Valley
Yeah.
Fire area, and so there's a lot of erosion control, extra help out there that we can use to take benefit of that. So,
Well, I can tell you when I go back to my property every day, I'm bringing walnut seeds, I'm bringing blackberry seeds and everything because I got some dead small trees on one of my properties and I'm just planting whatever I can and crossing my fingers it's gonna take root and, but yeah, we're concerned about the erosion a lot.
yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Harry.
As far as runoff from the structural ash, on the burn ash, those lots along the creek frontage on Corridors and Copsey Creek Way are on our priority list for the first crews to clean up, and that won't actually be addressing the trees and the brush and the choked up stream channel, but that will be addressing the ash that might run off and be down into the streams.
Come on up.
Mine was more of a response. We're in Henderson Springs right now doing a manufactured home to her question. 3.5 months for the home to come in.
Okay.
Honey Hill, 3 months for the home to come in. They've already done about 6 manufactured homes, so they're taking more than 2 months for this home to come in.
Thank you, that's good.
Just so you're aware, they've done about 6, 7 already.
So yeah, you should have
taken
taken
a while.
I'll get in order. One of the reasons I definitely want to go back home, we've been here for 20 years, and my mother passed away in April, just before this fire. And we want to rebuild for her, put it all back.
Yeah, no, that's great. We want you home, we want you back. Come on up.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for reminding me about the trees I had a concern about. And it may be too soon at this point because, miraculously trees come back months later.
Right.
But there are some really tall trees across from Bow Lake Elementary, toward the lower end, like across from our kindergarten playground, that I'm very concerned about. And I don't know if anybody can address those. I mean, the cleanup hasn't obviously started there.
Well, it's on school property?
Yes, it's right by the newer lower parking lot.
Okay.
They're Lady Line, Lake Street.
Yeah, I'll talk to the superintendent about that, but they have a better access to resources to take those down than we would. They have insurance. I don't know what they have. I shouldn't, jump to that conclusion, but usually a government entity has resources available that a private property owner wouldn't have.
So that's a superintendent question, basically.
Yeah, I'll check with her. If she's something she's concerned with, but they haven't brought it to our attention. And they have a lot of things that they needed help with, and we were able to help with them. So I'm not sure that's something they're really concerned with. Otherwise, they may have already brought it up.
Okay.
But I can check with her. Thank you. Anything else before we move on?
Mine is a concern for flooding, because where we were located on Cache Creek, Yolo County always depended on us to call them when the creek was rising, so they'd open the gates. They used to have flood monitors, alarms on Copsey Creek, but they lost the flooding situation we had. They told me that those alarms were no longer operated. So I was thinking our county should get a hold of them and get them to get those alarms back on, because they're not going to be there to watch the water.
Yeah, that's a good question we could bring up with Water Resources, and I can have that information by the next.
Like once those trees start falling down and coming down the creeks, that dam gets plugged up real good.
Yeah, that damn creek.
I miss that damn creek.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before we move on? So there were some questions a couple meetings ago about some stuff from CAL FIRE information, but I passed those on to CAL FIRE, and they were very responsive and did a good job. They're open line of communication if there are any individual concerns. But I asked for someone from CAL FIRE to be here, and Sean O'Hare is here. If there are any questions, and CAL FIRE, did you want to speak to anything that you guys have going on? Or?
We're actually meeting with a bunch of homeowners, both from the Plain incident, the Valley incident, and even the Rocky incident today. So truly, if you guys have any concerns, feel free to contact us, and we can answer you or point you in the correct direction on where we might be able to get you the answers. So I'm open for any questions here.
Any questions for CAL FIRE?
You guys just deserve a standing ovation.
Yep. Thank you.
So a couple other things that I just wanted to touch on just briefly, upcoming things that, first of all, So I've gotten some questions from Valley Fire folks and Clayton Fire folks about the Cal Home program. Senator McGuire talked about that at a task force meeting that he had in Middletown a few months back, and it was prior to the Clayton Fire, but some of you may have heard about it. It's a program for rehab and for first-time home buyers, different things like that. We're still going through the application process. There's a couple of nonprofits here in the county that qualify for that, and one application's been submitted, the other one's on its way, but they're not due until November 28th. HCD won't consider the application, the grant offering until after that's done. So we're waiting for that. There's no point in having a meeting to tell anybody what it looks like until after we know for sure that somebody even has the money available. But it's over $5 million that's going to be available to homeowners for a rebuild, to augment other funding. So it's a really good program. Short, low interest loan, 30 years to pay it off. You can pay it off in monthly payments, or you can pay it off at the end of 30 years in one big payment. There's a lot of options available. So we'll have more information on that, and we'll keep you informed as to when those meetings will be. But for right now, we really don't have anything more to offer on that that we can offer. A couple months out still, but Senator McGuire and Redwood Credit Union is planning a Christmas party for the community, and we'll have more details on that as we move ahead. The details that we do have so far, Willie, correct me if I'm wrong or if that's been changed, but December 4th at the Brick Hall. Okay, so we'll have that, and they'll have gift cards and money available for survivors. Toys for kids. There's just going to be a lot of good things. Food. It's going to be a real nice event for survivors of the Clayton Fire. The next meeting I have November 2nd. Is that on your calendar, Willie?
Yeah, it's a calendar out that identified the dates, and there's something else.
Do you have it? It's two Tuesdays or two Wednesdays from now. Wednesday after next, right? So November 2nd at 6 o'clock here will be the next meeting. And we got to get all these lots cleaned up. We have to get them cleaned up. And for whatever reason, we still have a few people that haven't signed up for the program, or they haven't made arrangements with a private contractor. So Ray talked about the deadlines and all that. So at some point, it may be that the county has to impose an abatement process to make sure these are done. And I want to make sure people know that we're doing that because we have to do it while these folks are still in town to do the cleanup. It's not meant to be punitive. No one's going to, it's not going to be, somebody's going to get fined or lose their property or anything like that. It's just that we've got to get it cleaned up. And for whatever reason, whether it's a bank-owned property that slipped through the cracks or something, people aren't signing up. So we're going to make every attempt to locate those last few property owners to get it cleaned up. But if it doesn't, then we're going to have to go to the abatement process. But in case you hear it, we heard it before that we just lost everything and now the county's abating our property. Well, that's not what it's about. It's not like a typical abatement where somebody has an illegal deck and we're going to go take it down and make them put in a new one with a permit or whatever. But this one is meant to just get this cleanup done, get the asbestos, anything that's hazardous to your community cleaned up, because it's really difficult. Not impossible, but it's really difficult for a community to rebuild, like you'd asked about earlier, without having everything cleaned up. And so we have a really good opportunity now to make sure that happens with these folks here and from Cal Recycle, and we have to do it, and that's the proper way to do it. So it's for everybody's benefit. Again, it's not meant to be punitive, and it won't be punitive. It's just going to be a function of how we get your community cleaned up and ready for rebuild. Star, coming up. I know there are a few folks that came in a little bit late, and I introduced some of the audience members that are also here available for if you have any questions. And we have Lower Lake Water District represented, Fire Department, Lake County Fire represented, and the Sheriff's Department representative. And I think, are there any other agencies that are here? I don't see any PD or anything like that. But anyway, so if anybody has any questions, come on up and ask them.
Now I'm doing what Jim told me to do.
I got the card from Neighborhood Watch. Right?
Oh, Jim has a card for you.
I got it for
I'm
you.
doing the Neighborhood Watch group,
Yeah.
and I have tons of people already signed up,
Great.
and we want to keep the looters from our town.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Jim has that information for you. Those folks are great. They know what they're doing and
And I missed it. Was FEMA saying we are qualified now? Because I heard that today.
FEMA wasn't even mentioned tonight.
Well, that's okay, because they really didn't do anything for the Valley Fire victims either. This one lady
I would disagree.
had 3
They may not have done
rentals.
everything for them, but
They gave her $3,000 for 3 rentals gone, burnt. How is $3,000 going to compensate 3 houses?
There was a lot.
That's not help. And
There
then
were
loaning
millions.
them a trailer, right, for 18 months.
Now,
Now,
let's stay focused on what we're doing here. FEMA's not helping, so.
right, FEMA's not helping.
Nobody's here. They're not.
Neither is SBA. I
Okay.
just want everybody to know SBA had me going for 2 weeks trying to find paperwork. Then, at the end of the faxing, no, we don't make enough. Well, this is revenues gone, over $4,500 a month gone. Yeah, we don't make as much as we did because of the fire. And I have a question for you later.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I wish I could respond to SBA and FEMA, but I don't have a response for them.
You're representing me, right? You're board supervisor.
Okay.
You're representing me.
Yeah,
I want you to go up to the other levels and let them know that they're not helping the victim. We couldn't even get a loan for a house through SBA. When I can go to a bank and get a loan, no problem. So how is SBA here saying we'll help you? They did nothing but take up my valuable time.
I'll pass that on.
That's all I do.
Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question for community development. I know a family that's living in a very small 1-bedroom with children, multiple children, farm animals. Conocta Harbor was kind enough to allow them in, but can I, as a homeowner, if I put my my RV to rebuild on, can I help this family by allowing an additional family to bring their RV temporarily, because they had no insurance and they were not owners?
Here's what I'm going to ask, because we don't know where your property is, we don't know all the details, and there are those. You can't just say a yes or no. I'm going to encourage you to please contact him, give him the information, give community development the information, and then they can work through it. But just to say yes you can or no you can't is not possible to do that.
I'll give you my card and give me a call and we'll.
Well, I know for the Valley Fire, they were saying that you could help other families.
In some cases, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm out in Copsey Creek on 1.5 acres. So I have been asked if they could temporarily put an RV in, once we get a right to find. Is that a possibility?
You need to call.
Let's talk.
It is a possibility, but don't take that as a yes, you can do it, because there's some questions that need to be asked first. There's water, there's sewer, there's electricity, there's all these things that need to be taken care of. So it's a possibility, but that doesn't. There's no certain answer that anyone can give you in a scenario like that tonight.
One of the things Rob mentioned earlier, and one of the lessons we learned in the Valley Fire is every lot, every individual is a unique case. It's very, very difficult to say blanket, this is how it applies to everybody. I'm working a lot in Anderson Springs, and I swear every lot has a different combination of things, and so to try to give you just a blanket answer, and that's why please give us a call. We'll be more than glad to sit down or on the phone, work through all the options and what the specific situation is. And if maybe what you're proposing can't be done, we'll see what else can be done. And that's the best way to work it through.
I really like that answer, because when you say, let's think about what we can do,
Right.
I hear so much out here in these streets, oh, you can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. No. I appreciate the fact that you said, let's think about what we can do. Thank you.
And that's the direction of my staff. They fully
Thank
understand.
you
We're
very
trying to
much
work
for
with
that.
people to get them moved back into the area.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? If not, then we'll adjourn this meeting. And if you have any questions, as always, you can call any of us. We have our cards here, or my phone number, my cell phone number is 349-2628, and Jim is 490-5980.
5480.
5480.
490-5480.
480, yeah. Okay. All right, thank you all.